Thanks for joining us today, and thanks so much for joining us, Steve.
Sure, happy to be here.
How are you doing today?
I'm good, how are you?
Great, thanks. Definitely want to ask you first about Tapjoy, and I know you guys talk about providing app tech to developers. Right. So what exactly is app tech?
So app tech refers to a full suite technology solution to help mobile app publishers optimize the value of the LTV of a user in their app. So people have talked for a while about ad tech being a solution stack for advertising. That's great, and that's one part of monetization. Where we're moving and where we're trying to go is to help optimize both in-app purchases and advertising in a mobile app, and therefore a broader solution suite, app tech.
So those tools would then be things like probably analytics,
right.
And what are the other essential elements?
Well, so on the ad side, the ad monetization side, there's the full suite of different ad types. There's a marketplace of offers that a user can opt into to access premium content. There's full screen interstitials, there's direct play video, there's the rich media, et cetera, the whole suite of solutions there, which generally is the ad tech component. But on the other side of it, you've got in-app purchases and trying to optimize a user's engagement in the app to increase the probability of in-app purchases. And that requires a whole suite of technology on the analytics side, basically providing insights around cohorts of your users and what is the right engagement to put in front of a user at the right time to get them to optimize around in-app purchases, or deciding that user is never going to engage in an app purchase, so we're going to make the decision to put an ad in front of them or a cross promotion for something else. And so it's really that full suite technology. And you're right, analytics is a key part of it. We recently acquired a company called 5 Rocks that, in my opinion, provides the most robust analytics platform out there for mobile game publishers. Their focus has been completely around insights for LTV optimization, combining that with monetization, and now you've got a full suite solution for optimizing the value of an app.
And today, every developer dreams of maximizing revenue per daily user.
Right.
But how do you take all these different tools and combine them in a way to strike the right balance? Because you don't want to go over the top with analytics. You also want to have a good user experience. You want to have ads, but you don't want to annoy your users. So how do you really walk that fine?
So I think the answer is in great data science and great predictive analytics around a user and their behavior. So more and more, really sophisticated mobile app publishers are applying analytics to look at different cohorts of their user base and make decisions. So the conclusion may be, based on your behavior in a game, that you are close to churning, and you're never going to buy anything in an app. So we need to figure out a way to engage you more deeply, and we need to figure out how to monetize you more effectively through advertising or whatever. So the goal of that suite of technology is to provide the analytics to break the user base down into the right cohorts so that you can make those decisions real time with the right insights and literally put the right engagement, the right ad, the right promotion, the right offer for in-app purchase, whatever, in front of the right user at the right moment in that app. And it is a very sophisticated suite of technology required behind that. And that's exactly what I think a number of companies, but certainly Tapjoy, is very focused on providing.
So maybe to understand this a little bit better, let me maybe just throw out some names of some games, and if you could talk about those developers and how you think they're able to sort of combine these elements and do a good job at becoming a top grossing game.
Sure.
So the first game that comes to mind is Glue and their new Kim Kardashian game, which is really popular right now. So what do you think Glue is doing right, and where do you think they can really do better?
Well, it's interesting that you select Glue, because I think of the mobile app publishers, Glue is probably as sophisticated as they come with respect to monetization. And so they apply the full suite of capabilities to monetize their apps, and that's on the advertising side through the full range of ads as well as through in-app purchases. And they also apply analytics to all of that. So Glue's very sophisticated. They've been a partner of ours for many years, and they use a number of our solutions to optimize monetization. So they, I think, do a very good job across the full suite of monetization opportunities for a user. And I think they're getting smarter and smarter and have been very smart for quite a while about how to integrate those into a game experience so that they're not intrusive. I mean, one of the concerns about all of this activity is it becomes intrusive to the end user. And there are a lot of studios who decide, oh, we're not going to put an ad in our game because it's going to be intrusive. But the right ad is not intrusive. In fact, a lot of the work we've done and research we've done or third parties have done on our behalf demonstrates that the right ad is going to increase engagement, right? So if you hit a user at the right time with an offer that gives them access to something in that app, it's going to further engage them in that app.
So you're seeing users actually being more engaged?
Yeah, for sure.
In what sort of games is this working?
I'll give you an example. So let's say a user gets to a level fail moment, and now they have to wait to access that level again. If at that time, though, a sponsor shows up and says, hey, watch our video, and we're going to sponsor your access to that next level, the user's not going to walk away from that app. They're going to be engaged. They're going to watch that ad. Publisher monetizes. Advertiser gets complete engagement and is viewed by that user as a benefit, right? And then that user maintains their engagement in the app. So there are also instances where a user will go search out. They'll go to this in-app store. They'll get to the store and they'll back out of the store and they'll decide, no, I'm not going to buy anything, which is 95% of users. And in fact, a pretty small percent ever actually get into the store. But they go to the app purchase store and they back out. Well, there's an opportunity to give that user an ad that says, hey, you're looking for currency or whatever to further your engagement in this app or in this game, and we present that ad right in front of them or sponsorship by some advertiser, and that is a win. So I think the right ad integration creates a win for the end user. They're going to be more engaged in the app. That's also a win for the publisher because they want to increase retention and engagement. And that's a win for the advertiser because the advertiser is viewed as a benefit. And we've recently did some work, actually Forrester did some work that demonstrated that advertisers who engage with users in that way get a brand lift that's pretty significant compared to other ad types that are just display ads.
So you're seeing companies like Glue and others use this?
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. And again, as I said, Glue's been a partner, excuse me, for quite some time, and they've been doing this in a very sophisticated way for quite some time, and I think they do a very nice job as a result of optimizing their monetization. I think there is an opportunity. One of the things that I think our industry and what companies like Tapjoy can do better is provide a more comprehensive solution. So right now, for somebody like Glue to successfully monetize, they have to use a whole range of different providers, people who are really good at this ad type or that ad type, and then an analytics solution, and have to sort of piece it all together. Where I think this industry is going to go, and certainly where Tapjoy is going is, again, to this app tech, is provide a much broader suite of solutions. So there's one integration of one SDK, one solution set, and the goal of that solution set is optimization for any given user across all those possibilities of monetization. And so it's interesting that the industry has been relatively unsophisticated in that regard, but it's nascent. It's a new industry. So there are a lot of publishers who do a lot of this work themselves. They've figured out themselves on the analytics side. So they have their own
proprietary.
Yeah, they'll either have their own analytics solution that they've had to build over time. Some of them separately will have their own ad solutions where they even have a team of people out there selling ads. I think there's a big opportunity to provide an integrated solution base in this market.
In terms of capturing global growth and specific international markets, is the industry also moving towards having this sort of one-size-fits-all solution?
Well, I for sure. I mean, I think if you look at some of these top-grossing apps, they're global, right? They're global in their success. They're global in their footprint. And basically, the game is the game in every market with localization, right? Local language and all that. So the core technologies that are going to support the success of that app should be the same, provided it's providing that full suite. So our goal is certainly in any market where a mobile game publisher is looking to build their business, we provide that solution. And we have a footprint in every major market in Asia and Europe. And so a number of our partners, particularly the bigger successful partners, are global partners. And they look to us to help them monetize in every market they're in. Yeah.
Another example of a game, and perhaps you can again share your thoughts on what they're doing right and where you think they can be doing better. I was looking at the app charts this morning, and one of the top 5 grossing games is Game of War, Fire Age by Machine Zone.
Right.
So yeah, what are they doing right in terms of, say, advertising and just sort of being able to strike
Well,
that?
certainly on the advertising side, I think you've got a number of those top publishers who become very, very sophisticated about their acquisition and how they go, because the entirety of this chain starts with acquiring users, right? Acquiring players, and then managing the engagement of those players, optimizing your ARPDAU against each one of those players. And that's pretty simple. That's basically what the core metrics are. And I think Machine Zone does a great job on that acquisition side. They work with us quite a bit on the advertising side, and we work with them to help acquire the right users. And they've gotten very good at determining what the ROI is on a user that they go acquire, because they're doing that entirety of LTV math. Once somebody shows up in their app, they're tracking those users by source, by cohort within that, within their game, and determining what is the value of that user, what can I go pay in the marketplace to help acquire that user, and they've been a big partner of ours for quite a while on the advertising side, and have done that quite successfully.
And what about those developers who are sort of striving to get up there? Like, what can they do, and what should they be thinking about?
Well, obviously, the guys who are at the top of the charts have first and foremost built a phenomenal game, and I think everybody who's in the game business, it's all about first and foremost build a great game. That said, in the mobile space, the barriers to entry are not huge, so it's possible to build a game that quickly moves up the charts if it captures some zeitgeist. That's rare, right? And it's very hard to predict. So obviously the more predictable way to do this would be to apply the right kind of analysis around your business. But that tail is very long, right? So the top grossing apps on iOS anyway, and you add another 50 to 70% for Android, are doing $1 million a day in revenue. That's phenomenal. Pretty quickly you get 10 or 15 places down the charts, and you're at 100,000 a day. And then after that, though, the tail is extremely long. And there are hundreds of apps that probably do over $10,000 a day in revenue. There is an opportunity for a nice business to be built in having a portfolio of apps that are generating 10,000 plus a day in revenue, and using that as a platform to get increasingly sophisticated about understanding user acquisition, understanding how to optimize the engagement of a user, understanding how to optimize the ARPDAU of that user within your app by balancing in-app purchases with ad monetization against the right group. So I think for a lot of those players who are building a fine business deeper into the top grossing charts, but still have an opportunity to build a fine business, the opportunities continue to get more sophisticated about how you apply those analytics, how you apply the right engagement with the right user at the right time within your app, and looking broadly at those various monetization opportunities. And that also includes cross-promotion. You have a portfolio of apps doing the right cross-promotion or understanding the right user acquisition vehicles. So all of that is sophistication. Coming back to your first question about app tech, that really is what app tech should be providing to mobile game publishers, mobile app publishers broadly, is that suite of solutions to help add that sophistication and that kind of insight. So that's what we're very focused on doing for our partners, and we have a number of partners who are in that top 10, 20 grossing list, but we also have a huge number of partners, hundreds, if not thousands, and we have 8,000 active apps in our ecosystem using our solution that are mid to long tail publishers who are getting more sophistication out of what they do.
But while a developer is figuring this out, a lot of habits are changing. For instance, I look at my habits. Maybe I've moved from playing mobile games to spending like a dedicated amount of time to maybe play Hearthstone on my tablet. So, how do you really adapt in that sense as consumer habits are changing? How does advertising or ad tech adapt to those changes? Because you're figuring things out, but things are also changing. So,
well, we're not building technology that is so hyper-specific to a type or genre of behavior, the capability that we're building is broadly applicable to take a user base in an app and figure out how various types and segments of those users are behaving, and then determine based on basic behavior, hey, this group is a high probability of being whales that are gonna spend a lot of money. How do we make sure that we treat them in the appropriate way? And what are the insights that we need to treat them in the appropriate way to engage them into that funnel? Versus here's a cohort of our user base who are not gonna engage in that way, and they're probably never gonna be in-app purchasers, and we should be optimizing through ad monetization. That set of technology applies across a very broad swath of apps and behavior. So our solution is embedded in very large numbers, I said, of game apps and mobile game apps, but also in a range of communication apps and basically freemium apps. Our model is to support freemium apps where there is a free to download component and then a pay component once you're in the app. And that can be, and primarily in this world, it's games. That's what people are spending their time on. But our solution will apply to any of those types of apps. And we see it working in a very broad range of media apps. So it's really a platform. And then in addition to that, the momentum in the marketplace is up and to the right. You've got more devices, more users, so the growth in the mobile space is going to continue. The movement toward apps as the core paradigm around which people are engaging continues. Freemium model continues to grow as the core model that app publishers are realizing, I have to get distribution, needs to be free, then I got to be really sophisticated about how I extract value once they're in through in-app purchases or ad monetization. So it's all up and to the right here in this whole category. It's a very nascent time. And so as user behavior shifts, the core platforms can shift with it and will. It's really the techniques that you use that matter and the core tools that you're building that matter.
Let's talk about advertising as well. Sometimes those banner ads can be really annoying, and I think they've still stuck after a long time. So what do you think we can do better in terms of advertising on mobile games? What are some new and creative solutions that perhaps the industry is coming up with?
Yeah, well back to my comments about this being a fairly unsophisticated suite of solutions at this point. Like a lot of things, a new paradigm emerges in a smartphone, and people apply the old paradigms to it initially, right? So the old paradigm for interactive media is on the web, and that's banner ads, display banner ads. And so the first instance of ads on mobile devices, in apps, and in mobile web is banners. And I think that has demonstrated to not work. The real estate is so prime, and there's so little real estate that trying to get somebody to engage in a display banner ad when they're fully immersed in a experience, particularly in a game experience, is not going to work, and it's demonstrated it doesn't work. That's why at Tapjoy, we're real believers in the rewarded ad model. The idea that a consumer, a user, a player has the opportunity to access premium content through advertising now creates a very obvious value exchange within that app. So we're seeing it succeed in a significant way, where again, it's a virtuous cycle of win-win-win. The user has the opportunity to access, say, currency or a level or premium content in an app through advertising. They could buy it, they could decide I'm going to buy it, but if they're not going to buy it and their behavior's demonstrated that, give them the opportunity. It's a choice. Mm-hmm. Consumer chooses, great, that's great, advertisers love that, consumers opting in. The consumer then is rewarded by engaging fully in the ad. They get deeper engagement through that reward. Now they're going to use that reward to go further in the game experience. The advertiser gets complete and total engagement in their ad experience and a positive, relationship with that consumer. And of course, the publisher now has a more engaged user and monetization. So the rewarded model, I think, is the new paradigm that's emerging to really optimize monetization. Users choosing, they're opting in, it's not interruptive, therefore. It's about as native as an ad experience can get because it's embedded in the economy of the app and it's actually furthering the user's engagement in that game. So to me, that is a huge opportunity, one that we're very focused on, to build a business that is not traditional advertising of interrupt the experience, not really related to what I'm doing as a user. Why is this here? Why is it related to me? Even with great targeting, it's really not a sophisticated model, whereas a highly targeted, right engagement, right user, right time, rewarded model works.
So we have all these sort of solutions right now, but why do we still just see a handful of successes or, a handful of games that have just cemented, their positions on the app charts?
Well, I think that's a combination of the nature of the game. They have captured a zeitgeist, or they are social in a way that people are pulling their friends in and they want to be part of it and builds a great network. So that's part of it. Part of it is the sophistication of the publisher and how they are able to engage those users and monetize those users. But again, the tail is extremely long, and I think the opportunity for building successful businesses in mobile games is very broad. And there's a lot of conversation about, is it all going to turn out to be a small number? No, I think we're going to continue to see successful publishers emerge with new games and new game types, and applying the right sophistication to get the maximum value from their investment in that game. So I think we'll continue to see things emerge that we hadn't. I mean, Flappy Birds, there's an example, right? There's one guy in a garage, cranks out a game, and suddenly it's huge. And the opportunity for that person to generate a lot of value was there, and that person chose not to. But that's an example of the opportunity that exists in the mobile game ecosystem that I think was going to continue for quite some time.
Okay, great. Yeah, thank you so much for joining us.
Sure. Thanks, Malathi. Appreciate it. Great to see you again. All right, thanks.